Say Wisdom, where we go over tips, tricks, and information on band instrument repair. Today, we're going to feature our Wilmington line of clarinets and give you a preview of all of the things that we have on sale in terms of clarinet land for Christmas. We do have a hashtag for you today. It is Christmas clarinet. Make sure you put that in the comments below. That's going to give you a chance to win a entry into our Saxophone Smackdown, which is February 23 and 24. And I know we're doing clarinet stuff and we're also promoting saxophone stuff, but it is Music Medic, so we're going to do everything that we can.
That's just what we do, man.
That's right. So we do have a winner. So check the calendar there. We have some clarinet stuff. We have clarinet class coming up over the July summer season. And then, of course, we have our Saxophone Smackdown. I'm going to have, we will have North Country Winds with us. So that is one clarinet dealer vendor who's going to be at that event. So that's February 23 and 24 in 24. That is the Sax Smackdown. So the winner is going to get a discount on the entry into our Sax Smackdown, and the winner is Mr. or Mrs. or they, LT Rand. Congratulations, they, them, you, it. Send me an email to richrich@MusicMedic.com, and I will get you your discount on the Sax Smackdown. Leroy, we went over tools for the technician for Christmas.
Yes.
Last week, and so this week Ryan did that, but he is in the warehouse right now. He said,
I know,
happy holidays.
Yeah, he said if you want to roast some chestnuts, just give him a call. He's ready to rock and roll.
So we're going to go over some Christmas clarinet deals. We do have all of these clarinets on special through the shipping deadline by the USPS, so you'll be able to get these for Christmas. They're all in stock here, right? So let's go over. We're going to go over the 901, 902, 903 in our clarinet line. Of course, the 901 is our address here in Wilmington, North Carolina. So that is where the first product number came from, and then we went up from there. So let's go through these very reliable, high-quality instruments, and let's talk about what they're good for in terms of the player, who they might be good for, and then some features that make them good.
Absolutely.
So the first one that is going to be the 901. This is our student model. And of course, Leroy is our resident clarinet expert. He fixes all of the clarinets here at Music Medic. He's also in charge of importing all the imported instruments and overseeing all of the, well, kind of everything. But Leroy's specialty is clarinet, so we had Leroy here to talk about what makes these instruments good.
Yeah, thank you. So this is our 901. Again, this is our student instrument. So again, doesn't look like anything fancy, but again, it's built very solidly. The body is the plastic ABS, just like every other student instrument out there. The one thing I do want to make note of and take awareness of is the register key design right here. So most clarinets, basically this comes in straight, comes almost to like a little bit of a point.
Yes.
Me as a clarinetist, that's what I'm used to. I've played on it for years and years and years. And I'm used to it, and it's okay. However, if someone's starting out, or if you're a doubler, or if you hate that design, this is a huge, huge improvement, and it's much more ergonomical, it's much more comfortable, and it's a lot easier to access that key too. Because if you see it, it's kind of like again, saxophone. It's swooped over. You don't have to do anything weird straight. You can actually kind of like pivot off to the side and hit the register key that way without having to do any weird contortion to your hand if you're not used to having that kind of thing. The other thing that's great about these is these are nickel-plated German nickel keys. So again, high quality key. They feel great under the hand. It is a really solid instrument. Plays in tune. I've played this thing tons of times. I've never had any issues with tuning.
Okay.
And it just feels solid, and I like to play it. It's fun.
Okay. So that is the 901. This comes with I believe, a zippered case. They're also inexpensive.
They are, which is kind of crazy.
You can get these on the website. They're on sale. And then, of course, if you're a dealer, or if you are a shop owner, technician, these are, of course, of all instruments that we have dealer pricing on. So you can contact me, Rich, RICH, at MusicMedic.com. Pause there. And we can talk about dealer pricing on these. Whether you're looking to, if you're a small dealer and you're looking at looking to get into a couple of rentals for the next season, or if you're a larger operation and you need to supplement your rental stock, that's also a good, that's how we help people. I find that's how we help people a lot here. So so that's the 901. Let's move on to the 902.
902. So this guy right here, again, it's our 902. Again, it's a clarinet. I mean, there's no like crazy key widgets or anything on there. Again, it's hard to mess up a good thing. So, but the two main things to note differently about the 902 compared to the 901 is, first of all, the keys are silver plated. So the other one was nickel plated. These are silver plated.
Okay.
All the clarinets across the board have that upgraded and ergonomic register key, which again is awesome.
I also see an adjustable thumb rest. Is that standard on all?
It is. Okay. It is. It's a nice little upgraded feature that we tried to do on there, because some the standard ones are good, but having something adjustable depending on the size of hands and stuff is also a nice little feature to have. The great thing about this one, again, other than the register key and the silver-plated keys, is that this is a composite body. So if a lot of people are familiar with like the buffet green line kind of thing, where it's like, they joke where it's basically wood, dust, and glue.
Yes.
Because it basically is. And they created that to basically give you the sound and warmth as best as possible to a wood instrument, but helping with the cracking of the instrument if you have it outside. That's basically what this is. So instead of it being just like wood, dust, and glue, it's a slightly different composition. It's basically wood and rubber, I believe. And the sound quality that comes out of this thing is really great. I mean, if I needed a backup instrument, I already have two. Shh, don't tell anybody. I would actually buy this one because the playability is good. It's free blowing. The keys feel really good under the hand. It's a solid instrument, and it sounds really good.
Would you say that the 902 is more free blowing than the 901?
I would say they're almost the same.
Okay.
The biggest difference is, as far as like playability with the two of those, is that you'll get a little bit rounder, warmer sound with the 902 because of the body composition.
Okay. So speaking of the warmer sound, let's move on to the 903.
903. Yes, and I'm excited about this guy because again, it's clarinet. Woo! And again, just like the 902, we have silver-plated keys on this guy.
Okay.
We have the upgraded and ergonomic register key. The body on this is solid grenadilla wood.
Okay.
So just like any professional instrument, we like to dub this as our introductory professional instrument. The thing that I try to request when we get these is that the graining of the wood is tight. A lot of modern, even professional instruments for clarinet, the wood graining on it is on the wide side.
Okay.
And for me as a technician and a clarinet player, that scares me a little bit because in my head it almost like promotes cracking. So usually when the graining is tighter and closer together, it has more time to cure and actually settle in. So usually it helps prevent cracking, which is great.
Okay.
So the other thing on this one that's great, and this is a new feature that we're featuring on our 903s, is this bell right here. So if you look, there's no ring on the bottom.
Very
so I'm
cool.
going to pull up the 902. There's a ring on here. Again, this is totally fine. There's tons of professional and intermediate clarinets that have the ring on there. There's nothing wrong with having it on there. Not having it on there kind of allows the bell to vibrate freer, which is nice. So especially like on your long pipe notes like low E or in staff B, that ring being gone allows the bell to ring freer and not kind of like bunch up your sound.
Okay.
The other thing that's great about this bell, and this is something that you unfortunately cannot see, is the tenon socket ends right about here. Just south of that, inside of there, there's basically like a little donut cutout. So if you were to do like a half cut on this thing and then look at it, there'd be this little curved cut on the inside of that bell.
Isn't that called a counterbore?
No,
Okay.
counterbore is something else inside of the
Okay.
instrument. The
Hmm.
there's a lot of major manufacturers that are doing that these days. Two notable ones are Bakun and Yamaha.
Okay.
What that design does is it allows the sound of the instrument when you're playing, especially like the long pipe notes, so like low E, low F, in staff B, in staff C. It allows those notes to not sound so round and balloony. It helps keeps that sound more focused, like the rest of the registers on the instrument.
Okay.
So when you're going, especially like if you're going over the break, you're doing something like this, it'll keep the sound more uniform, and you won't. It's harder to tell that someone's actually going over the break than with an instrument that actually did not have that feature on there.
Okay, very cool. So it sounds like it has several internal
Absolutely.
features that make this a professional instrument. I know it doesn't have all of the bells and whistles of the top of the line
Right. Absolutely.
professional instruments, but if you are kind of a serious student and you're looking to get into a professional quality instrument and a full Grenadilla wood instrument at a low price, but
Yep.
also have good key work and good ergonomics and good sound,
Absolutely.
the 903 is the way to go. Okay, Leroy, I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
And just in terms of the entire line, if you could, what are these instruments similar to? That's a question that we get a lot, and I think people just need some sort of reference. What are they similar to?
Yeah, it's hard because it's not really a copy of anything. A lot of I'll say private house brands are copies of something usually. These aren't. These are unique, which I actually like. When I've played them and just kind of the key work under the hands, the best description I can give you guys is it's like a hybrid between a Buffet and a Yamaha. Is the best way I can describe it.
And let's talk about barrel lengths. They all
yeah.
come with two barrels. Let's
Yes.
talk about the lengths and then what they're good for each player.
Yes. So each line, so 901, 902, 903, all come with two barrels. Comes with a 65 millimeter and a 66 millimeter. A lot of you guys might be like, 1 millimeter, what's that going to do?
Yes.
More than you might think. It seems small, but in the world of barrels and making sure that an instrument is in tune, it's a world of difference. The 65 millimeter barrel is really, really good for either students that are starting out, or someone that's only been playing maybe like a year or two, and their embouchure hasn't completely developed. So clarinet embouchure is way different than saxophone. Saxophone, you can be a little loosey-goosey on the side, which is totally fine. Clarinet, you have to be a lot firmer here and on the bottom as well. But if you're a student starting out, well, sometimes that embouchure isn't set as firm as it should be, and it's hard to bring the pitch up to where it needs to be. That 65 millimeter barrel is the way to go.
Okay.
Once you've practiced and kind of gotten to that point, you can, again, easily switch it out. Take that 65 millimeter barrel, put it in the case, take the 66 out, put it on there, and then you are good to go.
Okay. And then the other questions that I have for you in terms of the barrel lengths, what's good for a student and what would be good for, say, a doubler?
Good question. And I would say it depends on the player. It depends on the doubler.
Okay.
We kind of went over the student thing. Student thing, I would say, if they're starting out and if they're having a hard time staying up to pitch with the 66, use the 65. It'll make it easy for them, and they won't have to struggle.
Okay.
As far as doublers go, there are some doublers that are like really good at both as far as embouchure goes, whether it be saxophone or clarinet. If that's the case, I would say do the 66, call it good, and you're good to go. Most doublers, however, they're usually saxophone heavy and clarinet secondary.
Yes.
Which again, that's rich, that's great, and I'm the opposite, so I'm the other way around. But most doublers, their main axe is saxophone, and then they double on clarinet and sometimes triple on flute and all that stuff. In that case, again, the saxophone embouchure is a little bit looser on the sides and even on the bottom than clarinet. So many doublers have a hard time keeping pitch up on clarinet. If that's the case, use that 65 millimeter barrel. You'll get it locked in way easier than trying to struggle with the 66, and it'll just make playing it a lot easier too and a lot more fun.
Okay. And then if you were going to recommend one of these instruments what would be the one that you would recommend for a doubler?
Uh,
I
for-
assume student would be 901.
Yeah, yeah. For a doubler usually means you've been playing at least a little bit. You know, at that point, I would say the 902 for a number of reasons. One, if you've been playing a little bit already, you kind of already, I'll say you're good enough with at least saxophone. So to keep yourself, I'll say, on the track of probably the quality of the saxophone that you have, and then to make sure that the sound that you're producing meshes well with either the ensemble or everything else in the group with the music, I would say the 902 is the best way to go.
Okay. Plus that composite, if it's sitting on the stand for, an hour before you have to play, might be good if you're in some sort of weird environment. Which
Yeah.
theaters
Yeah.
can be weird in terms of how hot and cold they get.
Yep. And then you still get the warmness and basically the similar sound to the Grenadilla would as opposed to the 901 ABS.
And then of the three, what would you say is just the overall best value? So we have a kind of a wide price range. The 901 is, I don't know, $400, and the
$400 on sale.
and the
Yep.
903 is over 1,000.
Yep.
So what would you say is the best value of the three?
I hate to say it's an easy answer, but it is. The 902 is by far the best value because the only thing that's close to this, from my experience, is like the Green Line. So it's things similar to the Green Line. So and that thing is, that's almost, I think they're over $2,000 now. So I mean, this thing being well under $1,000, I mean, you're getting a body that's similar composition. You get the sound that very, very closely mimics a solid Grenadilla body. You have solid keys. They're silver plated. I mean, it's on sale for what, $6 something? It's normally like $650-ish or something like that.
I think it's even less than 6.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So-
Until December 18th.
Only. But yeah, I mean, even at regular price, I mean, it really, really is hard to beat the playability, the body composition, everything that the 902 has.
Okay. Very good. So Leroy, we have just a couple of minutes left.
Yes.
We've talked about these saxophones before, but let's go over the flute.
I'll trade you.
Yes, that would be great. So the Wilmington Flute is, of course, a student instrument.
Yes.
And this is a silver-plated instrument.
Yes.
And it has plateau, so it's closed holes.
Yep.
And it has a offset G.
Yes.
Silver-plated head joint. Comes in a nice case with the little, what do they call
It's
that?
a French-style case.
French-style case with a bag, and you can fit your junk in the front. A little zippered pouch that it comes with as well. What are the couple other, because I know this instrument is an excellent quality instrument. It's an excellent value,
Absolutely.
especially for the price. What are a couple of the other features from the kind of technician's standpoint that you can tell us about?
Well, you mentioned a good chunk of them already, so thank you for doing that. The one extra feature that I would love to point out is this guy right here. So this would be, as I was playing right hand, this would be your E. If you notice, so this is your G keys right here. So G1 and G2. If I push E, that G2 key moves. So the mechanism that's on here that is usually on either upper and intermediate or professional instruments is what's called a split E.
Okay.
So what that does is, I mean, obviously it closes that key, but closing that key, what that does is when you're playing more stratospheric notes, so like when you're playing like C, D, and E above the register, when you're doing that, that actually closes that pad cup, as you can see, and it keeps the note more in tune because those notes usually go way.
Super sharp.
Thank you.
Yes.
So having that one pad cup down really brings the pitch down, and it allows the note to not be so weird. You don't have to try to roll the head joint out and do all this other weird stuff. You can just keep it in position, hit that key like you normally would, and it'll go down there. Like I said, a lot of higher end intermediate flutes or professional instruments do that. The only other option that I've seen on this that professional flutes do usually is instead of having this mechanism, which again sometimes is a little bit better in my opinion, they'll have a donut soldered on the inside of that tone hole. It does the same thing, as far as the tunability on the high E, the thing that I personally don't know, and again, it's going to be player preference, would be because the tone hole on that G2 is smaller, it could make when you're playing E, because all of the stuff is going to vent out right through here when you're playing A, it could make that note stuffy.
Okay.
So having it open as a full tone hole and allowing that split E to work the way it works, sometimes, in my opinion, is a better feature.
Seems like a better design, just
Yeah.
from acoustic viewpoint.
Correct.
You have better response in the mid to upper range, and then better intonation in the upper range,
Yep.
as opposed to a stuffy lower note.
Yeah, I've heard people play it on both things, and it's player preference. But
Okay.
as far as like me personally, as looking at it as an acoustical thing and venting, I really like the split E because it actually keeps that tone hole completely open.
Any other features on the Wilmington Flute to mention?
No, not really. I mean, it's just like I said, it's a nice solid instrument. It's a nice solid student instrument,
Yes.
and for the value for the money, it's kind of hard to beat.
Yes, whether you are a person if you're a doubler and you need a new instrument, these are play right out of the box. If you're a student, these are excellent quality instruments.
Absolutely.
Will last for years and years. And of course, if you are a technician, dealer, shop owner, we have all of these instruments available in dealer pricing. So you can contact me, Rich, RCH, at MusicMedic.com, and we can talk about dealer pricing. We mostly send instruments to smaller retailers who don't have a lot of rental stock. So if you need to supplement your rental stock, or if you just want to kind of get into and test the waters, we have low minimum. So that's helpful for that if you're in that game. And of course, if you are in the Christmas game, if we have all of these instruments on sale for all of our parents out there and all of our doubler friends out there. So go ahead and check MusicMedic.com for the specials that we have running through the 18th.
18th.
Until, in time to get there for Christmas. So that is going to do it for now. Leroy, thank you so much for that excellent.
Yes, and don't wait.
That's right. Bye now. And we're going to be back next week with Leroy again. We're going to do some oboe stuff, and then we'll take the week off after that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And until next time, happy repairing.